The classroom was silent. Mr. Carter stood behind his desk, surveying the students with a stern expression. In his early 40s, with graying hair and impeccably pressed clothes, he was known for his strict demeanor. His students always treaded carefully around him, speaking only when necessary and keeping noise to a minimum. To Carter, this silence was a sign of success. His class was under control, proof of his effectiveness as a teacher. "All right, let's get started," he finally said, slapping a notebook onto his desk with a sharp thud. "Today, we'll be presenting the assignments you worked on last week. The topic is simple. What makes me who I am? You'll each share a bit about yourselves, your hobbies, your family, the kind of person you want to become. Let's see how prepared you all are." The students exchanged uneasy glances. No one volunteered to go first, even though they were used to Carter's demanding presence. Speaking in front of him wasn't easy. No one wanted to risk being the target of his sharp critiques. "Who wants to start?" Carter asked, his stern expression softening into something resembling a smile. But it wasn't the kind of smile that encouraged participation. It felt more like a challenge. When no one responded, his brow furrowed. "If no one volunteers, I'll choose." His finger swept across the room as students avoided his gaze, staring down at their desks or pretending to look out the window. Finally, his finger landed on Alex, sitting quietly at the back of the room. "Alex, why don't you go first?" Alex was one of the quietest students in the class. His curly brown hair often fell over his face, and he sat in the back, trying his best not to be noticed. His eyes widened, and he opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. "Come on, Alex," Carter said impatiently. "Just stand up and introduce yourself. We're all eager to learn more about you." A few students chuckled softly. Slowly, Alex stood, his hands clammy and trembling. I, he began, but the words stuck in his throat. Carter sighed, shaking his head. "Alex, if you're too timid to give a simple presentation, that's going to be a real problem for you in life. You can't just stay silent forever, you know?" The room went cold with silence. Alex's cheeks burned red, and he stared at the floor. "I'm sorry," he mumbled, sitting back down. But Carter wasn't about to let him off the hook. "You can stay seated, but you still have to share something," he insisted. "No excuses. Just tell us a little about yourself." Alex took a deep breath, his heart pounding in his chest. There was no turning back now. Summoning every ounce of courage he had, he raised his head and began to speak. "My name is Alex," he said, his voice barely more than a whisper. I don't live a life like most people. Things are a little different in my family." Carter's eyebrows knitted together. "How so?" Alex hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath, deciding to lay everything bare. "My dad is really sick. My mom works alone to take care of us, me and my two younger siblings. I have a lot of responsibilities. After school, I go straight home to take care of my siblings. I barely have time to do my homework." Carter's stern expression softened slightly. But Alex wasn't done yet. "My mom works the night shift, so we hardly see her. My dad's treatments are really expensive, and his insurance doesn't cover everything. Sometimes, it's hard to even afford food." The room was utterly silent as Alex's words filled the air. His classmates, who rarely gave him a second glance, now listened with rapt attention. Even Carter, who had dismissed Alex as shy and unmotivated, seemed moved. "What makes me who I am," Alex continued, his voice growing stronger, "is having to stay strong despite all of this. I try my best for my family, because they're all I have. So yeah, I'm quiet sometimes, and I don't always get my homework done. But that doesn't mean I don't care about my life." When Alex finished speaking, the silence in the classroom wasn't the awkward kind. It was heavy, weighted with the impact of his story. Carter sat at his desk, processing what he had just heard. He had judged Alex for his quietness, for his reluctance to participate, but now he saw him in an entirely new light. "Alex," Carter finally said, his voice uncharacteristically soft, "thank you for sharing that. It takes a lot of courage to talk about something so personal. You've given all of us something to think about." The atmosphere in the classroom shifted. Alex's story had left an undeniable impression, and his classmates, once indifferent, now seemed to see him in a new way. From the front row, Jessica, one of the most popular students, raised her hand. Mr. Carter, she said hesitantly, is there something we could do to help Alex and his family? Maybe we could organize a fundraiser or something? The suggestion spread through the classroom like wildfire. One by one, students began chiming in with ideas. Someone suggested hosting a bake sale, while another proposed organizing a charity event for Alex's dad's medical expenses. Alex, overwhelmed by the sudden outpouring of support, stared at his desk. You don't have to do this, he said quietly. I wasn't looking for pity. Jessica turned to him with a small smile. Alex, you've inspired all of us. Now it's our turn to do something for you. The next day, Mr. Carter took the idea to the school administration, who approved it wholeheartedly. Plans for a Day of Solidarity event quickly took shape, involving the entire school. There would be donation boxes, a talent show, and even a charity sports game. Local businesses pitched in, offering goods and services for a raffle. Students who had barely spoken to Alex before now worked alongside him to plan the event. Jessica's family offered to donate baked goods, and another classmate's father, who worked in healthcare, connected the family with organizations that could help cover medical expenses. On the day of the event, the school gym buzzed with activity. The turnout was overwhelming. Alex stood by the entrance with his mother and siblings, his eyes wide with disbelief at the support pouring in. I don't even know what to say, Alex told Carter, his voice thick with emotion. I've never seen anything like this. You don't have to say anything, Carter replied, placing a reassuring hand on Alex's shoulder. This is what community looks like. We take care of each other. By the end of the event, the fundraiser had exceeded expectations. The money raised not only covered a significant portion of Alex's dad's medical bills, but also helped the family with other expenses. More importantly, it brought the school together in a way no one had expected. The following Monday, Mr. Carter stood at the front of the classroom, looking at his students with a newfound appreciation. We talk a lot about lessons in this room, he began. Math, history, science, but the most important lessons are about kindness and empathy. What you all did for Alex and his family wasn't just generous, it was extraordinary. You should all be proud. The students broke into applause, their faces glowing with pride. Alex, sitting in the middle row, smiled shyly, his cheeks flushing. For Alex, the event marked a turning point. His classmates' support gave him the strength to focus more on his studies and his family. For Carter, it was a reminder of what teaching truly meant, not just imparting knowledge, but fostering compassion and building connections. Months later, Alex stood before the class again, his voice steady as he thanked them for their support. You didn't just help my family, Alex said. You showed me that I'm not alone. And I'll never forget that. The room erupted in applause, celebrating not just Alex's resilience, but the power of coming together as a community. And in the back of the room, Mr. Carter watched with pride, knowing that his students had taught him just as much as he had taught them. Enjoyed the story? Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend. Hit that like button and subscribe for more heartwarming tales. Let's spread the inspiration together.